Welcome back mga kabarangay sa PSTV Plus podcast channel. Napapanood nyo po dito sa YouTube. Ako po inyong Kuya Rene, yung Direk Rene. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. At ngayon po ay October 5. So binabati ko ng Happy World Teachers Day ang lahat ng mga guro sa buong mundo na kagaya ko. Welcome po kayo sa ating programa. At syempre, dahil World Teachers Day, syempre naisipan ko, dapat guro din ang ating makapanayam, makakausap dito po sa ating PSTV Plus. Siya po ay, akala ko kasi magka-batch kami, pero mas matanda pala ako, no? Obvious naman talaga na ano pala ako ahead sa kanya. Pero nagkikita kasi kami sa Universidad ng Pilipinas, sa College of Mass Communication. Nung mga panahon ay ako ay nag-aaral pa ng aking masteral, no? At and also in other, I think GSA, yung Graduate Students Association gatherings, ay nakikita ko po siya. And then nami-meet ko rin sa mga industry organizations like yung sa PACE, yung Philippine Association of Communication Educators, yung AMIC, yung kung ano-ano pa, mga guro ng communication arts ng MASCOM. And also, I did a little bit of teaching sa Far Eastern University sa graduate program ng mass communication. At doon ko rin siya lalo nakikita. At bago pa mag-COVID, no, we've been talking, we've been chatting, and because he was going to start with his, yung kanyang PhD, yung kanyang doctorate dito sa University of Auckland. Kaya lang COVID happens, accepted si bisita natin, and he started doing his work nung nasa Pilipinas pa. No? So doon pa lang makikita nyo ang determination nitong ating panauhin. Walang iba kundi si kasamang Joven Castro. Hi Joven, good evening.
Hello, good evening everyone. Good evening Kuya Rene.
How are you? Kumusta ka na?
Mabuti. Balik na sa Pinas.
Oh, yes. Oo. I saw your post, no? When did the graduation ceremony happen nga, Joven?
September 8.
Oh, so, birthday ni Mama Mary, September 8. It was when you went on stage to receive your doctorate is it in education or in communication? Ano ba
communication?
In communication.
PhD in communication.
PhD in communication. Oo. So ako tuwa ako dahil siyempre kilala ko yung basta kilala ko, mas malalo akong nabuboost ng aking happiness. But just to put into context, Joven, no? Taga saan ka sa atin sa Pilipinas?
Ako ngayon ay nasa Manila. Dito ako nag-aral at nagtatrabaho. But I grew up in Pangasinan.
Saan town? Anong town sa Pangasinan?
Sa Labrador, Pangasinan.
Uy, hindi masyadong kilala yung Labrador. Malapit saan yun?
Malapit na siya sa Alaminos, sa Sual.
Okay. Oo. So yung papuntang 100 Islands na, parang ganoon.
Yes.
Yung ba yun?
Opo.
So you grew up there and you studied sa Manila, and now you're working sa FEU as the Vice President for Student Development and Continuing Education. Dati nagtuturo ka sa FEU, no? How long have you been with FEU?
Oh, I've been with FEU for 25 years now.
Ha? Napakabata pa talaga nito si Joven, 25 na pala. So a quarter of a century, no? Kasi
Yes.
Ako, Joven, I graduated from FEU, AB English Literature. Ewan ko kung meron pa ngayon, parang fine-face out
Meron
na yata. Meron pa. Okay. Kasi nung time ko, 70 something. Last batch na daw kami, parang ganun. But that's good to know. So you've been there for 25 years. You started as a lecturer, I guess, and then you move up the ranks to what you're doing. What is this FEU VP for Student Development and Continuing Education? Ano to, Joven?
Yeah, it has two divisions. The first part, student development, promotes student experience and campus life. And then the other half, it has 2 units, yung FEU Academy, which is providing micro-credentials. Tapos we will soon launch the FEU Online, which will offer online degree programs.
Oh, wow. That's good. And I understand FEU has also branches, has branch out. I mean, aside from Diliman, meron pang ibang FEU? Tama ba ako?
Yeah, may FEU Alabang, may FEU Pampanga, Cavite. There are several joint ventures. Medyo lumalaki sila.
Wow.
Kasi magwa 100 years ng FEU sa 2028. So, gusto nilang i-scale up yung mission vision ng university.
So that's just 3 years from now, and I suppose you're in the middle of all of these things already kasi big deal yung 100th anniversary ng eskwelahan.
Yes.
Oh, that's good to know. Owen, yung as I made an introduction, you were pursuing after finishing your master's UP, you were thinking and pursuing a doctorate, no? And you've been, I guess, you have been doing your research, and then until you found the University of Auckland to do the PhD, no? Kaya nung binanggit mo sa akin in one of our chats, tuntua ako dahil sabi ko, magkikita tayo ulit, no? And I think in your 5-year stay, one time lang tayo nagkita. Dalawa yata.
Dalawa.
Parang dalawa. But you have settled into the the academe sa University of Auckland. Pero tanong ko, bakit University of Auckland ang iyong pinili, Hoven?
Yeah, gusto ko talagang mag-aral sa isang bansa na hindi economics lang ang model niya ng progress. And at that time, well-being economies na si New Zealand. And then, of course, isa sa mga steps ng PhD kasi is my supervisor ka na align sa gusto mong pag-aralan. And then, Dr. Ethan Plout, my supervisor, accepted me. So that started everything, my journey, even if COVID to a certain extent disrupted the supposedly earlier entry into New Zealand. Kasi nag-start ako 2021, sarado pa yung border ng New Zealand because of COVID. And I had to defend my proposal online.
So while you were still in the Philippines, tumatakbo na yung mga you were already doing your what's this, yung synapse
first
or whatever.
Year.
Yung first year. Kasi because of COVID, no? Or ganun ba talaga sa program nila na you can do the first year in another part of the
supposedly dapat pagka-accept mo at mag-start ka na, you should migrate to New Zealand kaagad. Pero nagkaroon sila ng parang stopgap mechanism para mag-start na kahit sarado pa yung border. With the condition na the moment the border reopens, we have to fly to New Zealand immediately.
So how was it? Mahirap ba yun? I mean, hindi face-to-face yung home?
Mahirap kasi wala kang kabanter na kapwa mo estudyante. Tapos syempre at that time, lockdowns. So I live in the university belt. I live in the 19th floor and I live near a hospital. You can hear the siren of ambulance, for example. So medyo napapraning ka na, naku, may namamatay na naman. And at that time, close din yung mga you can't go back to the province to be with your family. So na-stuck ako sa condominium, tapos may araw lang na pwede kang lumabas to buy your food, etc. So it was a difficult start. Pero fortunately, mahusay ang pastoral care ng University of Auckland. And I think New Zealand in general, mahusay ang kanilang digital library. So I did not have any problems with accessing reading materials. And then there are constant check-ins from the graduate studies coordinator and even by my supervisors. They kept on asking me how am I. So very systematic yung proseso ng pag-aaral. May milestones na kailangan kumpletuhin. So hindi ka naman pinabayaan. Pero syempre, namimiss ko yung, nabawasan ng isang taon yung mas amazing experience kapag in-person na yung PhD.
Kasi when you came here, so on the second year, no? Second year mo na, ano na, yung that's what you're saying, yung experience with the face-to-face with all your other colleagues, no? Yung kasi iba ang style dito sa New Zealand, no? Parang sa UK, sa Australia, you don't earn yung mga units na sinasabi, yung 3 units ang ganito. You do research right away, di ba? You talk with the advisor. Sometimes merong mga parang continuing education, something yung university na open sa mga doctoral students, no? Tsaka alam ko sa inyo meron kayong special na place, di ba? Yung mga doctoral students may parang office din sila, di ba? Ganun ba sa University of Auckland, no?
So, bawat PhD student, may office siya. So, I have my own table and computer, and that's where I work. And then, of course, when I first met my supervisors, the first sentence they told me, PhD is just one part of your life. So, enjoy the amazing scenic spots of New Zealand. So, yung palang naisip ko na, I made the right choice. Kasi hindi lang aral as in 24/7 na tutok lang sa babasahin at pagsusulat. At maniniwala ako sa ganoong prinsipyo na you will enjoy what you're doing, what you're writing if you are also happy and enjoying life outside PhD. Tapos meron ding PhD lounge. Ibig sabihin yung dating colonial house, yung dating seat of power ng Auckland, siya ay PhD lounge na doon bumibili ng wine or beer ang mga PhD students at a discounted rate.
That's
so na-enjoy namin yon. Pag pagod na yung utak mo, tatawagin mo na yung kaibigan mo, let's grab a beer.
Or ayun cheese na. And wine, parang gano'n na ano.
Yes.
So yung ano, you enjoyed your stay. So what are the more memorable places sa'yo? Alam ko lahat memorable pero yung talagang mga napuntahan mo, no? Ano yung mga yung sa'yo?
Queenstown. Ibang charm ni Queenstown.
Tsaka yung yung lugar ng Queenstown, yung Wanaka, Glenorchy, mga ganon. You went to all those, ano. Aside from Queenstown, ano pa yung iba? Yung second one?
Hindi ko maalala ang pangalan. Yung mag-cruise ka ng 2 hours, tapos
Waiheke Island?
Ang gandang glacial formation.
Milford, sa Milford Sound. O
Milford,
Franz Joseph Milford. Oo. So malapit din yun sa Queenstown, ano, kakaiba. I got the opportunity this winter na kami mag-asawa, first time, no? Maganda nga talaga yung vibe niya, iba. Mahal lang, napakamahal. Ang Queenstown, napakamahal talaga. Yung presyo ng mga kung ano-ano, napakamahal kasi maraming turista pupunta, no? So in your in your journey, in your travel dito sa mga places in New Zealand, syempre mga malalapit lang sa Auckland, anong mga takeaway mo dito na when you go to these places, Hoven?
Kasi aside from the scenic spaces, yung kultura ng New Zealand ang pinaka na-appreciate ko. It's a very respectful culture. Hindi toxic yung work environment, and then masisense mo na people care for each other. So parang as a migrant, it's so difficult to forge or start anew kasi parang pin-lock out ka sa bansa mo, tapos akala mo mag-aaral ka lang, pero habang nag-aaral ka, ang daming emotional and psychological disruptions kasi ang hirap mag-focus kapag namimiss mo yung pamilya mo. Pero dahil yung kultura, supportive, nurturing, mag-start siya sa university, like they didn't usually ask, kumusta na ang iyong pagsusulat? Natapos mo na ba? So medyo off yung tanong na yon kasi alam naming iba-iba yung aming, how do I say it? Yung aming pacing sa pagsusulat. So more of kwentuhan lang, wag mong tanungin pag hindi sinishare. Pero nami-miss ko yung ganung care ng bawat isa kasi sa Philippines, minsan alam ko sa defense talagang gigisain ka, pero hindi ganoon sa New Zealand. Like if 2 months before your oral exam, ibibigay na yung question sa'yo para paghandaan mo na yung response mo during sa oral examination, yung final defense, kumbaga. So, very nurturing. Mararamdaman mong nandun yung mga panelists to support you and make your paper better. At sana yun yung mga bagay na ma-integrate sa Philippines. Pati yung well-being programs ng University of Auckland. Sila yung mga gusto ko ring ma-enhance dito sa FEU. And malay natin, kung magkaroon ng chance to share it with a larger audience in the Philippines, may share din siya. Na-miss ko yung pag bumababa ng bus, people would say, "Thank you, bus driver." As in, sa New Zealand ko lang yung nakita.
Yes,
hindi ko yung nakita sa ibang bansa. Pag may nabangga kang tao sa palengke, "You're good." Walang, "Ano problema mo?" Walang gano'n. Tapos syempre, masarap talaga ang beer. The first time I was not yet familiar with the flavors of beer, I asked them, "What beer do you recommend?" Ang tanong sa akin, fruity or malty? Sabi ko,
okay.
Tapos may favorite kami dyan na inuman na 16 flavors.
Okay. Iba-ibang flavor.
Mamimiss mo talaga.
Tsaka yung sinasabi ni Hoven na yung thank you bus driver. Minsan, hindi mo na nga nakikita yung driver kasi sa likod ka bababa. Pero you still say thank you eh. Thank you bus driver. Diba? Parang, and everyone does it. Bata, matanda, na ano. Yung sinasabi ni Hoven, totoo yun, no? Ako, naranasan ko yung sa Pilipinas na medyo combative yung ano mo, yung mga colleagues mo, no? O di kaya you are in the academe na may i-defend ka something, medyo combative eh. Parang hindi okay lang yung combative, yung challenge ka, pero iba yung I get what Hoven is saying, and hopefully no sa FEU no it can be your experiences would be enhance the yung nurturing and looking at the roster of faculty in FEU, marami na ring nag-aaral sa iba't ibang bansa, no? So I suppose that is the thrust of the administration to really, kasi sabi mo 100 year na talagang may na yan, may K na ba? May K na yung So yes. Hoven, etong yung what was your thesis nga pala? Ano nga pala yung project mo or dissertation? Ano nga pala yun?
Yeah. Akmang-akma ang aking dissertation sa pagdiriwang today kasi it's about Filipino teachers as crisis communication intermediaries during COVID-19.
Oh, wow.
So parang imbes na point of view ng organization, which is usually the perspective ng crisis comm, point of view siya ng mga local actors, and by that, ito yung mga teachers na nasa giyera against COVID at that time. Ano yung ginawa nila kung may digital divide or digital exclusion among their students, limited ang resources, tapos naka-lockdown pa. So yun yung naging tutok ng pag-aaral ko.
So yung ano ba tawag no? Yung focus group o yung in-interview mo would be were the teachers in university or high school or
public high schools.
Public high schools talaga, yun talaga nasa grassroots na
Yes.
Wow.
Sa National Capital Region na highest ang COVID cases at pinaka-strict ang lockdowns. Nung bago ako lumuwas ng New Zealand, naka-interview ako dito. So ito yung time na naka-face mask ako sa bus. Like I traveled up to Cavite, tapos may umuubo, tapos malapit ka nang umalis. So parang nervyos ka. Pero damned if you do, damned if you don't. So tiniis mo na lang, ginanon ko na lang yung kamay ko on top of my face mask para hindi ako mahawa. Pero nahawa pa rin ako, as in, I had to isolate myself.
Nagka-COVID ka rin ng bago ka umalis. Oh, okay. How many times ka nag-COVID? Once lang?
Siguro isa yung confirm, pero feeling ko dalawa kasi nung hindi pa uso yung nawawala yung pang-amoy, nakaramdam na ako noon eh. Tapos lumabas na isa sa symptoms yun.
Oo. So you went to this mga public high schools. Kumusta yung nila? Kasi kumusta yung reception ng mga, of course in advance na nagpaalam ka na, and so, pero kumusta yung response nila ng mga
teachers? Very inspiring ang mga guro kasi despite the limitations, they went out of their way to help the students. Bumuo silang ng mga care network na tinatawag. So yung care network, ito yung mga parents, potential donors, barangay officials, mga star students, sila yung mga parang they work with them to help students who are disadvantaged. Dumating din yung point na pag hindi na kaya ng digital, they did house visits. Like they had to walk for several kilometers just to go to students who never respond to, let's say, messenger comments. So pupuntahan nila kung kumusta kung so ayun, so naka-develop ako ng parang intermediation theory na nagsasabing hindi hihinto yung guro sa kanyang function bilang guro. Gagawa siya ng paraan para matulungan yung mga bata na alam nilang pinaka-disadvantaged. Gumamit sila ng sarili nilang resources kasi kulang talaga yung resources ng gobyerno. At syempre, yun yung unang layer ng pag-aaral, pero eventually, binasag ko din siya na hindi magiging ganito rin yung experience ng mga guro kung mahusay kung well invested ang ating education sector. So may critique din sa sistema ng gobyerno, education sector in particular.
Yung infrastructure na sinasabi na yung support ng gobyerno. Now, these are early days sa Hoven, kasi kababalik mo lang sa Pilipinas, but have you or are you planning to go back to these teachers and ikwento mo sa kanila yung journey mo and take it from there?
Yes, kasi sa parang part of the research process is to share the results with them. So syempre, instead of sharing the entire almost 200 pages, gagawa ko ng mas parang snippet niya para mas snackable content. Yeah, and then definitely I will be meeting some of the teachers who have become my friends. But I already emailed them and thanked them. I shared a video kasi sa University of Auckland, may copy ka nung video mo na pag nagmamarcha na binabasa yung title ng thesis. Sinare ko na rin yun.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Happy sila para sa akin. So, very thankful ako sa... In fact, isang page ng thesis ko nakalagay talaga, to the 47 Filipino teachers, thank you for sharing your colorful story.
Wow.
Kasi talagang saludo ako sa mga guro. Ibang level yung commitment nila despite the resource constraints.
So this journey of yours was a journey with them also, no? With the teachers especially. Na during those times ay talagang din sila, they were so challenged and with all the issues, but still they went out of their way to help with the research. And as the way that you're saying it, yung kinukwento mo, no? Parang talagang I know the Philippines in terms of resources na sila na mismo, and then COVID and all of this. It's a work of love, Hoven, and you chose a very good topic, timely and useful, no? Research na hindi mo parang pag-research tapos sige nandiyan sa tabi, but it can move on to further studies or implementation, no? Now, in your writing regimen, Hoven, In general lang, no? So, how many hours? Ito naman para sa mga nanonood, nakikinig na researchers o gusto nilang mag-aral either dito sa New Zealand o nasa Pilipinas. I mean, in your instance, ilang oras will you devote to the actual writing na talaga?
Yeah, of course, medyo personal approaches yan. Pero sa aking case, I have to write from 9 to 12 every day. I have to make that regimen. And then yung hapon, dahil medyo pagod ka na, magbabasa ka na. Kasi kailangan basa rin ng basa eh. Siguro hindi ko na mabilang yung binasa ko. And then sa gabi, chill ka lang or basa ka ulit. So parang gumagana yung utak ko sa umaga. So pag ganun gumana, sulat ka. Pero may isang chapter, yung parang pag sinisynthesize mo na yung lahat, it took me 3 months, napakahirap na nagkaroon na ako ng writer's block. Tapos parang ibig sabihin nun, wala na ako ma-produce na bago. Tapos kinausap ko yung supervisor ko. It seems I have a writer's block. Sabi niya, stop writing, go travel.
Okay.
O di nagbiyahe ako.
Saan ka pumunta?
Pumunta ako saan ba ako nagpunta?
Wellington.
Wellington.
Okay.
Ayun.
And it helped?
Yeah, it helped. Tapos na-realize ko din na pag hindi gumagana yung utak ko, I just ride the train from Britomart to anywhere else. So, habang nasa train, pag gumana, maglalagay ako ng outline ulit sa cellphone ko. Kasi may mga tips din sa university na kapag nagka-writer's block ka, change venue. And what's beautiful about Auckland, there are a lot of parks like Auckland Domain. So pag hindi na gumana, tatakbo na ako, magja-jogging ako, punta ako ng Auckland Domain. Tapos biglang pag gumana, susulat ako ulit. So yun yung mga time na kapag hindi na kaya nung 9 to 12 lang, tapos malapit na yung deadline, hindi ka pwede maupo lang sa upuan mo eh. Kasi parang mas stuck din siya. Tsaka minsan, alak talaga.
Parang si Edgar Allan po kailangan uminom.
Or Nick Joaquin. Oo.
Nick Joaquin, oo. Now, you also got involved with a group of sa academe, no? Sa AUT, tsaka sa University of Auckland, either PhD students or master's students, tsaka yung mga may PhD na, for this, what is known as the Philippine Studies Network. Can you tell us a little bit about that, Hoven?
So, nung nag-gather kami, which was initiated by Dr. Sarah Lipura, parang nagkaroon kami ng common sentiment na ang daming mahuhusay na Filipino, pero sino yung nagre-research about migrant experiences in New Zealand, about Filipinos and the Philippines? So parang it's a common dream na sabihin ang daming pwedeng i-contribute ng mga Filipino sa research space, sa creative practice, and in the professional world. Kasi nagturo din ako sa University of Auckland as a graduate teaching assistant. And I have Filipino students at hindi sila nagpapahuli. And in our head, if we put our efforts together and set up a network, so mas mami-mainstream yung galing ng Filipino at i-discuss ang mga issues na nag-a-affect sa pamumuhay ng mga Filipino, both positive and negative. Kaya nabuo yan. So nag-start na launch siya sa University of Auckland and then nag-evolve. So nakahanap ng home base sa Auckland University of Technology with the help of the Philippine ambassador. So ganun yung vision niya, maging research hub, maging public engagement hub. So by public engagement, ito yung mga conferences, tas training programs. Tas magkakaroon siya ng partnership sa Philippine schools. So currently, syempre UP Diliman, Ateneo, FEU, UP Baguio, ito yung mga initial universities. So I think they might come over in the Philippines or to the Philippines in April. So FEU will welcome them.
So etong mga nasa Philippine Studies Network, they will come and that's good to know.
Plus AUT.
An AUT, that's good, very good, no? Kasi in other parts of the world, meron ng Philippine Studies program talaga as a program, as a degree. I think you know all of these things, no?
Mm.
And we're growing growing Filipino community in New Zealand, na yung mga bata na either dito na lumaki, dito pinanganak, o bata pa nandito
Correct.
na. So they are looking for their roots, and they are like, yung culture, yung heritage, and so many other things. And also we have a growing number of Filipino professors, no, nasa nasa universities, no, sa iba't ibang
Yes.
universidad dito sa New Zealand, no.
Mm.
What is in store for the future for you, Hoven, no? Now that you're back diyan sa ano yung mga parang gusto mong ma-implement na doable na
Ako definitely, I want to strengthen the well-being programs of FEU. One that really integrates concern for students na inclusive talaga. So I want to enhance that with the University of Auckland model. Tapos, syempre, dahil uso ang micro-credentials and online degree programs, ito yung isa sa mga mandate actually siya sa akin to explore student cohorts na hindi pa na-explore. And si FEU, dahil dati siyang school for the working class, ito, mga working students, ang isa sa mga major targets noong FEU online. And then, of course, marami ng mga ginagawang partnerships naman yung aming FEU Academy para mag-provide ng professional training programs sa mga kailangan ng CPD or kailangan nila ng training programs on digitalization, sustainability, inclusivity. Yun. So, more of setting up a new program sa akin, tapos enhancing what we already have in our student experience. Kasi very vibrant yung student experience sa FEU. One of the most vibrant campuses yan, I would say, in the National Capital Region. So,
yeah.
So, I think, yun ang tutok.
At recently kasi, around a month or so ago, nandito kasi yung Philippine Netball team. At isa doon, dati siyang player ng women's basketball ng ng FEU, Tamaraw. Siya nagturo sa akin kasi nag-picture kami, sabi niya, "Sir, ganito tayo, sir, ganito, Tamaraw tayo", sabi niya.
Yeah.
Ganyan.
Ganyan.
Ganyan, Tamaraw tayo, sir, Tamaraw. And she also is I think she is with the Philippine Navy, no, kasi karamihan ng mga players doon ay galing sa armed forces. So that's well and good to know, Hoven, no. Actually, yung i-implement mo is not part of your studies, but it is the result of your experience in studying here, yung well-being, yung wellness. Maswerte yung mga estudyante, no? And I think as student development, that's parang swak yan sa sa gagawin mo, no? Before we go, ano yung micro-credential? Is this like yung parang certificate, diploma programs? Ito ba yun, Hoven?
Yes, parang ang trend ngayon sa Philippine education system kasi pwedeng stackable curriculum. So, ibig sabihin, magkukompleto sila ng mga certificate courses. Tapos pwede siya actually integrated sa kanilang actual degree na pag nakompleto niya to, pwede siyang makredit.
Okay.
So, ganun yung mga ginagawa namin ngayon. Mag-provide ng mga certificate courses. Pero syempre yung aming business model sa FEU, more of partnering with companies. So, yung mga empleyado nila yung nag-aaral or mga professional organizations.
I see. Oo. Parang dati yung isang kasama ko when I was teaching in another institution. So, siya, yung part-time siya, they go to, alam mo yung New Zealand Post, di ba? Yung postal system. So, they go to one of the New Zealand Post, yung parang main office. Tapos ite-train nila yung mga gustong something, they get a certificate, and then yun nga na ladder na build up to qualification, and well, that's so yan, kahit You don't have to go to Manila to do that siguro na if it's company-based, nasa Bataan or somewhere, yung malaking company, something like that siguro na ano.
Hybrid siya usually.
So may face-to-face tsaka online.
Medyo gusto rin nila ng face-to-face pa rin eh.
Ganun. Oh, that's good. That's good to know. Dahil, 5 years na yung pero mukhang nandyan pa rin yung yung COVID, no. Hoven, maraming salamat, no. I'm very happy that we're able to do this in short notice. Thank you so much. At looking forward to hear about your yung projects and programs dyan sa FEU leading to the 100th anniversary, no. Anong message mo sa mga kagaya ng gustong mag-aral, no? Gusto mag-aral sa ibang bansa, no? Kasi narinig ko rin yun bago ako pumunta ng New Zealand. Sabi sa akin ng kasama ko, alam mo rin kung ikaw mag-aral ka ng doctorate sa ibang bansa para maranasan mo rin yung ibang sistema, no? And true enough, I did that sa University of Waikato, like Hoven, nagturo ako, yung gano'n, although hindi ko pa siya tinatapos hanggang ngayon. So ating lang muna na But ano yung mensahe mo, Hoven?
Sa mga nag-a-apply pa lang, siguro find your positionality. Ibig sabihin, ano yung experience mo na pwedeng hugot ng iyong PhD dissertation. Crucial siya kasi isa siya sa mga malaking tanong lagi pag pinili mo ang isang topic. So kapag nanligaw ka ng isang supervisor, isa yan sa mga sasabihin mong experience mo, kaya tatanggapin ka nila. Tapos syempre, alagaan mo yung relasyon mo sa supervisor mo. Kasi sila yung katuwang mo para makapagtapos ka. Kapag kaaway mo yung supervisor mo, hindi ka nila tutulungan. Ayun, tapos syempre, PhD talaga, roller coaster ride yan emotionally. So dapat handa ka. So find a good network of friends. And I have a very strong support network in New Zealand by Filipinos and my friends from other countries. Tapos magbasa. Talagang maraming babasahin pag PhD.
Thank you so much, Hoven, and wish you all the best in your undertaking. You're taking a short break, going back to Pangasinan, so enjoy your break. Maulan pa ba dyan? Kasi may paraya, may bagyo, parang ganun na
Sa Manila, hindi.
Okay. Tsaka hindi ka naman affected ng baha, di ba? Nasa 19th floor ka eh.
Opo.
Oo nga pero I can just commiserate with our kababayans kung ano na ang nangyayari sa ating bansa. But prayers for everyone. Thank you so much, Hoven. All the best.
All the best din.
Kumusta na lang sa mga kakilala ko dyan sa FEU, si Jean, si Jean na lang yata, tsaka ikaw.
Sir Manny Gonzales.
Si Dr. Manny, nung isang araw, kami, kasi yung pasado, na sila yung awarding ng pasado. So, yeah. So, thank you, Hoven, at God bless. At nais ko magpasalamat, pinayagan nyo kami ni Hoven pumasok sa inyong mga puso, sa inyong mga tahanan, sa mga panahon nito. Ating panauhin si Dr. Hoven Castro, ating panauhin dito sa ating PSTV Plus, 20,000 subscribers. Maraming salamat. Kaya gusto ko talaga quality, credible ang aking mga guests. Kaya hinahanap ko talaga sila para sa inyo. Thank you so much. God bless. Goodbye for now.